July 15th, 2020, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A simple tweet appeared on Elon Musk's verified account. Send Bitcoin to my address and I'll send double back. Within minutes, thousands believed it. Over $100,000 in Bitcoin was sent. But Musk never posted that tweet. The person behind that tweet was actually a 17-year-old kid living in Florida. And his plan wasn't just about stealing money. It was about shaking the entire digital world to its core. This is the story of how social engineering brought down the most powerful platform on earth, and how a teenager convinced the world that Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Elon Musk were all running a Bitcoin scam. Graham Clark wasn't your typical teenager. At 17, he was already known in underground hacking circles for his social engineering skills. Unlike other hackers who focused on code, Graham understood something far more powerful: people. The COVID-19 pandemic had created the perfect conditions for his plan. With everyone working from home, security protocols were relaxed, remote access tools were everywhere, and most importantly, people were isolated, making them more vulnerable to social manipulation. Graham had been studying Twitter's internal systems for months. He knew that Twitter employees had access to something called God Mode, administrative tools that could take control of any account, including verified ones. The challenge wasn't technical, it was psychological. He needed to convince Twitter employees to give him access to these tools, and Graham Clark was about to prove that the human element is always the weakest link in any security system. But what makes a person fall for a scam? Social engineering is the art of exploiting human psychology. Graham knew that people are more likely to comply with requests from authority figures, especially when under stress. He used urgency, authority, and even empathy to manipulate his targets. He would research employees' backgrounds, find out their hobbies, and even reference recent company events to build trust. This was not just hacking computers, it was hacking minds. The attack began with a simple phone call. Graham, using a technique called vishing, voice phishing, called Twitter's internal support line. He didn't sound like a teenager. He had practiced his voice, his tone, his technical vocabulary. "Hi, this is from IT security," Graham said confidently. "We're seeing some unusual activity on your account. For security purposes, I need to verify your credentials." The first employee hung up. The second one was suspicious. But the third employee, working from home, stressed about deadlines, fell for it. Graham had done his homework. He knew the employee's name, their department, even details about recent company meetings. This wasn't random. It was surgical precision social engineering. "I just need you to confirm your Slack password," Graham said. "It's just a security verification. We're updating the system." That one password was all he needed. From Slack, Graham could see internal communications, learn about other employees, and most importantly, identify who had access to the administrative tools he needed. He also used pretexting, creating a believable scenario to gain trust. Sometimes he pretended to be a new IT hire, other times a manager in a different department. Each call was tailored, and each success made him bolder. With access to Twitter's internal Slack channels, Graham began what security experts call lateral movement. He wasn't just looking for any employee, he needed someone with administrative privileges. Using information from Slack conversations, Graham identified several employees with access to Twitter's internal tools. He learned their names, their roles, their recent projects. He even discovered that one employee had recently complained about IT support issues. Graham called this employee, armed with specific knowledge about their recent problems. "Hey, this is Jake from IT. I see you've been having issues with the VPN. Let me help you fix that." The conversation lasted 20 minutes. Graham walked the employee through fake troubleshooting steps, building trust and rapport. Then casually, he asked for access to the internal admin panel to run some diagnostics. The employee, grateful for the help and convinced they were talking to a legitimate IT support person, provided the access credentials. Graham Clark now had the keys to Twitter's kingdom. He also monitored internal Slack channels for any signs of suspicion. When he saw employees discussing strange activity, he would quickly change tactics, sometimes even sending reassuring messages as a fake IT admin to calm nerves. At 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on July 15, 2020, Graham Clark logged into Twitter's administrative panel. The power he now held was unprecedented in social media history. He could see every account, every private message, every piece of data. But more importantly, he could post from any account, including the most followed accounts in the world. Graham started with cryptocurrency accounts at Binance, at Coinbase, at Gemini. These accounts posting about Bitcoin giveaways wouldn't seem too unusual. The post was simple: send Bitcoin to this address, and we'll send double back. But this was just the warm-up. Graham was about to do something that would break the internet. At 4 p.m, Elon Musk's account posted, "I am giving back to the community. All Bitcoins sent to the address below will be sent back doubled. If you send $1,000, I will send back $2,000. Only doing this for 30 minutes." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Thousands of people began sending Bitcoin to the address. The scam was working perfectly. Graham watched the Bitcoin wallet fill up in real time, refreshing the blockchain explorer every few seconds. The thrill was intoxicating, but he knew he had to move fast before anyone caught on. Emboldened by his success, Graham expanded his targets. If people believed Elon Musk, they would definitely believe other celebrities. Jeff Bezos: "I have decided to give back to the community. Send Bitcoin and receive double back." Bill Gates: "Everyone is asking me to give back, and now is the time. Send Bitcoin to my address below." Barack Obama: "I am giving back to my community. All Bitcoin sent to the address below will be sent back doubled." Joe Biden: "We are giving back to the community. Send Bitcoin to this address and we'll send double back." Each tweet was crafted to sound authentic, using language patterns similar to how these figures actually communicated. Graham wasn't just posting randomly. He was impersonating with precision. He even considered targeting corporate accounts like Apple and Uber, but decided the risk was too high. Still, the scale of the attack was unprecedented. The Bitcoin address was receiving thousands of dollars every minute. But Graham's real achievement wasn't the money. It was the chaos he was creating. He even considered targeting corporate accounts like Apple and Uber, but decided the risk was too high. Still, the scale of the attack was unprecedented. Inside Twitter's headquarters, panic was spreading. Security teams were scrambling to understand how their most secure accounts were being compromised simultaneously. At first, they thought it was a coordinated attack by a sophisticated nation-state. The idea that a teenager could have penetrated their systems seemed impossible. Twitter made an unprecedented decision. They would disable the ability for all verified accounts to tweet. For the first time in Twitter's history, presidents, celebrities, and world leaders were silenced. The platform that had become the primary communication tool for global leaders was effectively shut down. Graham Clark had single-handedly broken one of the world's most important communication platforms. The media exploded. News outlets around the world ran headlines about the hack. Hashtags like #TwitterHack and #Bitcoin scam trended globally. Celebrities and politicians issued statements, some even joking about being hacked by a teenager. But for many, the event was a wake-up call about the fragility of digital trust. The FBI's investigation began immediately. They traced the Bitcoin transactions, analysed the social engineering techniques, and worked with Twitter to understand how the breach occurred. But the investigation was not just technical. FBI agents interviewed Twitter employees, reconstructed the timeline of the attack, and even analysed Graham's online aliases and past activities. They discovered that Graham had been involved in smaller scams before, selling rare social media handles and running phishing campaigns on gaming forums. Graham had made one crucial mistake. He had used some of his own personal accounts and IP addresses during the attack. The digital forensics team was able to trace these back to his location in Florida. On July 31st, 2020, Graham Clark was arrested at his home in Tampa. The 17-year-old who had fooled the world was charged with fraud, identity theft, and hacking. The final tally was staggering. Over $100,000 in Bitcoin stolen, 130 high-profile accounts compromised, and global trust in social media platforms severely damaged. But the real impact went far beyond money. Graham had proven that social engineering could bring down even the most secure systems. He had shown that the human element, not technology, was the weakest link in cybersecurity. In the weeks following the attack, Twitter implemented sweeping security reforms. Employees underwent mandatory social engineering awareness training. Multi-factor authentication became standard for all admin accounts. The company also launched a public campaign to educate users about phishing and vishing attacks. The hack inspired other companies to review their own security protocols. Governments around the world debated new regulations for social media platforms. Cybersecurity experts published papers analysing the attack, and universities added the case to their curriculum. Graham Clark's story became a cautionary tale. In interviews, some of his friends described him as a loner genius, obsessed with puzzles and online games. Others said he was driven by a desire to prove himself smarter than the system. His family, shocked by the arrest, struggled to understand how a teenager could outsmart one of the world's biggest tech companies. Victims of the scam, from everyday people to celebrities, shared their experiences online. Some lost money, others lost trust. For many, the event was a reminder that anyone can be fooled, no matter how tech-savvy they are. Graham Clark faced severe consequences. He spent 3 years in a juvenile facility, followed by probation and a ban on unsupervised computer use. His story proved that in the digital age, the greatest threats often come not from code, but from the human mind. The Twitter Bitcoin scam of 2020 wasn't just about a teenager stealing money. It was a wake-up call about the power of social engineering and the vulnerability of our digital infrastructure. Graham Clark's attack succeeded because he understood something that many cybersecurity experts overlook. People want to be helpful, they want to trust, and they want to believe. In an age where we rely on digital platforms for everything from communication to commerce, the Twitter hack showed us that our trust in these systems might be misplaced. The question isn't whether another attack like this will happen. It's when, and whether we'll be ready for it. If you want to hear more true stories about the psychology of hacking and how to protect yourself, subscribe to Hacker Stories and leave a comment below about the most convincing scam message you've ever received. The aftermath of the Twitter hack rippled far beyond the company itself. Tech firms across the globe began to re-evaluate their security protocols, realizing that even the most advanced systems could be undone by a single moment of human error. Universities added the case to their cybersecurity curriculums, and digital literacy campaigns gained momentum worldwide. Experts now emphasize that the best defense against social engineering is education and awareness. Regular training and a culture of healthy skepticism are essential. The Twitter hack became a case study in how quickly trust can be weaponized, and how important it is to question, verify, and stay vigilant. The lessons of the Twitter Bitcoin scam remain clear. Technology alone cannot protect us. It is our collective responsibility to foster a culture of security and remember that in the digital world, the human mind is both the greatest asset and the greatest vulnerability. The hack sparked a global conversation about digital trust. People began questioning not only their account security, but also the authenticity of messages they received daily. This event highlighted how easily public opinion can be manipulated by a single, well-crafted message. Graham Clark's story serves as a reminder that anyone can have a profound impact on the world, for better or worse. The key takeaway is that vigilance, education, and adaptability are our best tools in the fight against social engineering and cybercrime. As technology continues to evolve, so too will the tactics of those who seek to exploit it. The Twitter Bitcoin scam stands as a warning and a lesson. In a world where information moves at the speed of light, critical thinking and a healthy dose of skepticism are more valuable than ever. By staying informed, questioning what we see online, and supporting one another in the pursuit of digital safety, we can build a future where trust is earned, not assumed, and where the next big scam is met not with panic, but with preparedness and resilience. Finally, ask yourself, would you have clicked that tweet? In the digital age, the line between security and compromise can fit inside just 280 characters. The next time your phone lights up with an unbelievable offer, pause, breathe, and verify. Your skepticism might be the firewall that saves your finances, your reputation, and your peace of mind.